All right. Hey, hey, welcome back, guys. Let's get into a singles storyline. What do we have? A Seven of Wands and a Nine of Cups. We may have a feminine who is going to be our lead character here. It doesn't have to be, but we do have somebody who is kind of fighting for their right to party. No, she's like fighting for her happiness, for her wishes to come true. This could be a divine feminine who's like very focused on, creating a life that she wants to have. She could be kind of enjoying a challenge. She has more than one big dream or goal. Knight of Pentacles. I feel like someone's coming in to join her in this, maybe this relay race of life. AC, Nikki, oh, great to see you. With the Knight of Pentacles here, look, anytime that we set our sights on happiness and goals and things that we want to achieve in life, that can become our life's work, right? And so it's a good long journey, and we'll have, a winding path in front of us, and we're going to meet lots of other people. I feel like we have a feminine who's just about to meet someone who could really blow her away. They may be somebody who's actually outpacing her with some of the things that they are accomplishing in life. She could be very impressed by this person. 73 could be a number associated with them, whether it's maybe it is their runner or something, and they have that as their number, or maybe that's part of, an address, part of, some kind of even like license plate or something like that, or that's their lucky number, that's their favorite number. Whatever this is, I feel like she's going to be meeting somebody that definitely rocks her world and makes her reassess and readdress what she thought was a good life. You notice that this definitely is going to impact her. I'm picturing, there's nothing better than being impressed by somebody for all the right reasons. When somebody crosses paths with us and we're like, oh my gosh, here I was thinking that this was my journey, this is what would make me happy. But then I meet you and you kind of like inspire me, and you make me aim higher, or you make me realize that I was really setting a very low bar for what my happiness was going to consist of. That's kind of what I feel like. Like, if anything, she's going to be blown away by this person, and it's going to influence her and open up her mind. I kind of think she has been not feeling oh so awesome about herself without realizing it. Maybe that's why it's felt like she's been, trying to achieve goals, having to always fight for some kind of, outcome, even though she's always seeking, happiness and trying to reach goals. This actually says she's been working too hard at that and not realizing that either she's worthy of more, and this person, this masculine, might show that to her. Something about the way he lives his life makes her see her own life in a different light, and makes her take stock of the fact that I think she was diminishing herself. We have an Eight of Pentacles. This is super positive. Hi, everybody. Great to see you. It's like she's starting to recognize with this Eight of Pentacles, she's been working way too hard. Not smarter, but harder. Always taking a path that she thought she had to like grind away to earn her right to have even a little morsel of happiness. And for some reason, let me see, what is it about him that's making her change that perspective? Because I love him. I love just the way he kind of makes her see the world a little different. We have a Three of Cups. I mean, this could be very simple, that maybe she's not accustomed to anybody paying her any attention. This could be, he's blown away by her, and she could be stunned that he wants to talk to her, wants to be around her. That Three of Cups says he might literally just be noticing her, paying attention to her. And she's like, wow, I did not expect anyone to see me like this. We have a Six of Cups in the reverse. We have a Five of Wands. And by the way, obviously, this card should not have been in this deck. It's not the right size, not the right anything, and yet it was sandwiched in. So it's the way he makes her feel really seen. And I think it clicks that I'm wondering if she has not had like real friends or companionship in a long time, because this says she has not had soulmates. In fact, she's had a lot of people to struggle against. It's almost like she's been plopped into the wrong environment for a long time, and that's why everything was a fight, everything was a struggle, everything. She's had no support around her. She's always trying to create, happiness, trying to reach for it, but always falling short of it because it's always a freaking struggle. And I kind of think it's because she's been in the wrong group setting. Either her talents haven't really been recognized, her, let's put it this way, you could be the most talented person. Let's say you have a voice that's just like an absolute songbird, but you work as a coal miner and no one around you, thinks much of singers. So you're never encouraged to sing. And then this person comes along out of the blue, somebody that is not from her environment, and they're very much about singers and artists, and they give her some very like straightforward, like, oh, you're wonderful, you should come, you should perform, you should do this, you should do that. Sometimes that's where it becomes this reality check that it's like, I have never had anybody in my environment say anything supportive, kind, or uplifting to me. In fact, all I've had is people who tear me down. And I think that this is going to be that huge juxtaposition. This new person who enters into her world shakes her and lets her like realize that she has been pouring her energies into the wrong avenue or the wrong basket for some time. She is way more talented. She has way more to offer. She's smarter than she thinks she is. She's got way more than what she thought she did. And it took this stranger coming in to like awaken her to her own potential. Who are you to her, Knight of Pentacles? Are you just like the voice of the divine? He is not her end all be all. This is not a dating scenario. He could be younger than her. He could be somebody that just brings vitality in, but he does come in speaking truth. 7 of Swords is in the reverse. 10 of Cups is also in the reverse. He might point out the obvious. God, this would be a crappy. What do you mean? Why are you doing this? That would be crappy. Oh, you're so awesome. I would think you'd be doing X, Y, or Z. You're so talented. I would think you would be doing X, Y, or Z. What do you mean this is what you do for a living? That sounds awful. He just might be really blunt and just point out to her that he sees her as somebody doing much more. And he might point out, like, I would be miserable if I were in your shoes. Sometimes we need somebody else to tell us, what you're putting up with? Yeah, you shouldn't. 10 of Pentacles. He's point blank telling her she's amazing. She has so much value. I feel like he's just literally passing through, but I don't feel like he's her romantic partner. I feel like he is just the mouthpiece of the divine. He shakes up her world. He is the great disruptor, which is fabulous because we needed a disruptor in this story. Yeah, definitely 9 of Wands in the reverse. It's like, do not tolerate being a wounded warrior. Get out there and live the greatest, the fullest, the best extent. He just thinks she's amazing. So I don't know how he just flits in through her life, says some things that she needed to hear, and then it seems like he moves along. I don't think he stays in her life, but he does shift her life around. Okay, so what does that mean, universe? If she's meeting somebody or is about to meet somebody who's going to say some much needed words to her, some truths. King of Wands, and then we've got this 7 of Swords sideways. Do you know, I'm wondering if he comes in and says something point blank like, how the hell are you single? You are so fine. Whoever didn't lock it down with you, that person's a freaking fool. And he could be younger. Like I said, he could be too young for her, but on the other hand, still is able to like point out something about, like, you definitely should have had somebody locking it down with you. If somebody didn't, they must have been super jealous of you to try to make you feel like you weren't good enough. I just feel like he's able to say something point blank to her that she needed to hear, because after that conversation, she starts realizing maybe the person she had her heart set on at some point Maybe they were full of crap, because it looks like somebody left her. It looks like a king of wands that she thinks the sun rises and sets on left her, and she's been holding on to him, right? This is a card of like desperation. She maybe didn't admit to herself that she's been holding on to somebody that she hoped and prayed would come back to her. Remember, she's a queen of wands, but in the reverse. She's been holding space, keeping herself single, and waiting for breadcrumbs without realizing it. And it's this well-intentioned, straightforward, maybe young person who pops into her world. Or they don't even have to be young. Let's just say that they are somebody with fresh eyes, and they tell her point blank, "Oh man, I can't believe you're not married. You're not, somebody didn't sweep you off your feet and give you a mansion to try to hang on to you. Like, oh, somebody was super jealous of you, huh? You probably freaked them out. They were probably super jealous of you, huh? That's why they stayed away from you." Maybe she needs a masculine's perspective to fill her in on the mindset. All right, guys. Sorry, I know that buffered a little bit. Is the audio all wonky again? Sometimes I have to do a little reset twice when YouTube is struggling like this. I just feel like this is one of those situations where she needed to hear from somebody outside of herself some significant truth, so then she could see what she's been doing. She put somebody on a pedestal who left her, and she secretly has been desperately holding on, pretending she wasn't, but holding on and wishing that that person who left her would come back. And that person who left her, pew, sorry, that is nobody to wish to come back. I don't think. I can see how she somehow got tricked into thinking that, but thank God for this person. Thank God for our disruptor fellow who comes in and like illuminates some stuff for her. That's awesome. Okay, so now that you're seeing this, feminine, what does that mean? 8 of Cups. She's finally like done. She's over the ex. She's recognizing the ex isn't coming back. The King of Wands who left her high and dry isn't coming back, and she doesn't really want them back anymore. This is a new adventure for her. She finally sees herself as single. She's not, I think for a while she didn't feel very attractive, and I think she's recognizing maybe that was a mistake. We have the Lovers. I do think that our disruptor fellow must have, we already saw the cards that came out, he must have told her point blank that she was a very sexy, very very desirable individual, and he said it point blank. And I think finally she can envision herself having a romantic partner. I'm wondering if she's been like celibate for a long time, if she hasn't been with anybody in a long time, if she's secretly been still waiting for that ex to return so then she could feel attractive again. I feel like her attractiveness was somehow like attacked without her realizing it, like her own image of herself, because normally our Queen of Wands is our sexiest queen. And if you look at this, I mean, my God, everybody's staring at her and she's oblivious to it. In fact, she thinks she's, as as ugly as a bear, as they would say in Shakespeare. And that couldn't be further than the truth. And she needed this fella to come running on by and give her like that flash of truth before she could even start to envision herself with a lover again. I think she's been waiting for that ex to come back so then she could feel attractive again. And she didn't know that's what she did somewhere in the way back of her mind. Thank God. Thank God for this character right here, because she needed to be shaken out of that mindset that she didn't even know she'd slumped into. She has not pictured herself with another lover or maybe being desired by somebody else in a long time. Now she's starting to be able to imagine that. 5 of Cups, Emperor in the reverse, and slowly but surely, as she's like letting go of that energy that she held herself in for a while, she's starting to realize that ex did a whammy on her. that ex, she may be having a much poorer opinion of the person of her past now. She may realize that her self-esteem was eroded and that was an intentional thing. She may be like letting go a little bit more every day of, that hurt of the past and be like, "Oh my God, how did somebody trick me into thinking that they'd leave me, then nobody else could possibly want me, and that I was stuck until this wonderful person came back and, you know, then I could feel attractive again. How on earth how did that, mind trip even get played on me?" And she's like, "Oh, he was good," or, she was good. Whoever played that game on me. That was like the epitome of a power dynamic, power game that was played on me. Okay, I so regret that I let that happen to me. But hey, live and learn, right? She has like wrapped her head around some things that were really holding her back. This is a feminine who was very, very, very held back. She has not been able to move on into love and romance, and now she's going to be able to. We have the Star, we have the Six of Cups in the reverse. That Star card says she's actually healed. She's thinking about the future. She's not asking for exes back. She's not, reminiscing, lamenting. She's free of past soulmates. She finished a lesson. And the lesson in this storyline was actually hers, to realize that when somebody leaves us behind, we don't wait until they come back. We're not left sitting in the corner like, a teddy bear waiting for somebody to come back and play with them again. They lost out on us when they walked out the door. Like that's what she hadn't wrapped her head around until now. Now she's like, aha, I get it. And that lesson that I learned in this is done. I'm okay now. Onward. So we see her reaching for other ideas, other dreams, other goals. We see her envisioning herself with a different lover. We see her open to, bringing love back into her life. So is she going to have another person in her world at some point? Because this is looking like it's coming pretty soon. We have the Hermit with the Knight of Swords. It's weird because the Hermit's a little bit, it's like kind of crossing it. It's not exactly upright. And the Knight of Swords says she could have somebody new immediately. She may still be holding back, though, from anybody. She's, being mentally changing your mindset around and then physically being ready to meet a new person. Those are two different things. Look, she's very attractive. She could call in a lover any day, any moment that she wants. If she goes to the grocery store and chooses to actually make eye contact and turn on the charm, she'll have somebody's number by the time she walks out of there, or they'll ask for hers. But we see her still kind of struggling with I'm not just sure I'm ready just yet for really conversing with and going down the road of romance. So she's still just a little bit like, I don't know that I'm 100% ready yet. We have the Hierophant. She's aware that this is kind of her own, what is my higher self telling me? Am I ready? Because I kind of think she's in this mindset that she wants to only call in what she's genuinely ready for, comfortable for, but I also think it's got to be pretty serious. I don't think she's like, ooh, now I'm just going to date everybody. This feels like she still wants something pretty serious. Got the Eight of Swords. She's a little stuck in her head. Where is she stuck? Is it about like what's right versus wrong? We got the Six of Swords. We got the Knight of Wands. Okay. It's interesting. This is like a very moral character who does kind of have her own hangups on like dating and, how I almost feel like she's a little bit out of practice in the dating realm. And I also think that she's somebody that doesn't want to like date more than one person because that could be wrong. But here's the thing. She's going to need to maybe stop thinking of it that way and start realizing that being attracted to somebody doesn't mean you have to fall into bed with them. Getting to know somebody, casually dating and seeing what's out there. She's going to have to open up her mind to that. She's a little rigid thought process about this because maybe she like fell for one person, And then, it's like, oh, that's a person I was going to marry. Or she fell for one person and that's who she married. And then when that relationship ended, she still couldn't quite imagine moving on with somebody else. And even though now she's thinking she'd like to actually, try bringing in a new romance in her life, there's still this hang up. And the hang up seems to be like, well, I can't just go out and date a bunch of different people, can I? And I almost think she has to. She has to get beyond this hang up. Because the only way to know if you like somebody is to start getting to know them, spend a little time with them. And if it turns out you don't like them, then you move on and you got to be able to date somebody else. There's much to be said for just thinking of dating as I'm getting to know another human being. It does not mean that I now must kiss them. It does not mean that now we must be married. But I kind of think she has like some pretty stringent like expectations that I think she's going to have to relax a little bit. And I think she already knows this intuitively, instinctively. I think she knows that she's got to like maybe let down her guard just a little bit. Yeah, I get it. She still does want to call in the right person for herself. And she has a pretty good idea of what she wants. But she's so nervous about like even trying to date anybody at all, unless she already thinks pretty strongly that they're going to be the one. That puts a really high bar on everything and makes it pretty intense. I don't know but she's like, but I just want to be able to give my heart safely to somebody. But you got to build trust with somebody. And that might mean dating them. And that, I don't know, somewhere in between her trying to get comfortable with the idea of dating and then also saying, but I want to meet the person that I know intuitively is the right one for me. She's kind of like torn between, I don't want to date anybody, I just want to meet the one. But then the other side of that coin is, but how do you meet the one unless you're willing to date, right? So she's kind of struggling with, I don't want to go out on a bunch of different dates. But on the other hand, then how do you think you're going to meet the one? It feels like she wants something that matters. That's really it. She wants something that matters. Page of Pentacles. However she finds her comfort zone, this is her being willing to talk to people. But I think her big thing is, I just don't want to be dating a bunch of different people, but I could have conversations with people. Okay, whatever language she needs to use to make this work for her. Four of Swords. I definitely still feel like she's got some preconceived notion of like guilt surrounding dating, and she knows it's time that she loosens up a little bit and puts that to rest. There's something here about, I don't know if she was just so, maybe she thought like you meet one person, you marry them, and then you stay with them for the rest of your life. And if she really had a strong conviction of that, not the way her life turned out, I could see why she'd be struggling with this. It feels like a very precise character who has really strong convictions, and they really do want things that matter. They don't do things, willy-nilly. And that all makes sense. But on the other hand, this kind of feels like some of the strong belief systems that she holds, she does have to look at them and apply a belief system, in a sensible manner for the era that we live in. Not everything works out the way, it's idealized to be. We don't always meet the person, fall in love with them, spend our entire life with that one person. That's just not really the way it goes. It's a great ideal to think of it that way, but I don't think there's any shame or guilt to carry if that's not the way our life goes. That's too high a bar. I don't know. I feel like there's some element of her unguilting herself. That's a really important component for this particular character. So we've got the Four of Wands and we got the Empress. You know what? I think she's going to be more in charge of her own life and her choices. And when she allows herself to unguilt herself, I think she's actually going to shine her brightest. I think she's going to be more in control of her own life in the best and most beautiful way. And that is actually going to attract with greater likelihood, the right person for her, because she's not walking around on pins and needles going, I feel guilty that I could be dating somebody else. I'm not really allowed to do this. Somewhere along my training or my raising of me, I was told that I wasn't allowed to, you know, stretch and grow and date different people and figure out what I like. This feels like a feminine who is like maybe in her 50s or something, who's just now like really coming into her own. She's just now really truly stepping into her true Empress power, where she's the one in charge of her life. She makes her own set of rules, and she does not have to worry about moral judgment being cast upon her for her own life choices. Her life is not everybody else's. Maybe, you know, older generations or other people in her family, their lives went differently than hers has. That doesn't mean she's less than. That doesn't mean they're wiser than. That doesn't mean she needs to be judged by anybody. But freeing ourselves from others' judgment and allowing ourselves to make our own choices so we can finally get what we actually want, I think that's a really important message in this, because we see her only getting better, brighter, and actually finding either the partnership or the lifestyle that she wants. For all I know, maybe she's going to find out, I don't actually want to get married again. I love having the freedom to just live my life, run my business, do the things that I want to do. She may very well choose that for herself. And that could be the other thing that's like, I had to unguilt myself so that I don't have to go and worry about finding the next partner and I have to just date one person and then marry them. Maybe eventually she'd like to have a partner and give her heart to somebody, but maybe for right now, she just wants to live her life on her own terms. And she had to first be unguilted over that. I don't know. I kind of dig this whole storyline of somebody who's just finally doing what's right for themselves and no longer feeling like other people get to cast judgment. I mean, here's the thing. Other people will cast judgment. That's all people do, right? We all do it. We try not to be judgy, but we all do it. And the trick to being an adult, at least I think, is to know full well that everybody's judging us on literally everything that we do and not care. And just still go ahead and do what's right for us. That is hard to get to that point of not letting it impact us. Or maybe I shouldn't say not care, but maybe not let us change our own mind and live according to someone else's, rule book. Maybe we'll still care, but having the courage to still just go ahead and say, yeah, but I got to do me. I think that is the epitome of being an adult, but it's hard. It's really hard to get there, especially if there was a very confining, like pattern that a character was raised in. So anyway, that's what we got on this one. You guys, thank you. Yeah, I love that song. I love Janet Jackson. Ginger, I love it. Not caring is your newest hobby. Juanita Patrick, Queen of Dreams, CEO, great to see you. Oh, that's awesome. With Juno Wild, Carol, Tammy Secord, Sam Juanita, great to see you. Astrid Noid, wonderful to catch you tonight. Sun Truth VZN, awesome to see you, love. Just Win, by the way. Beth Ross, oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations, so Beth. Empress Unicorn 111. Nikki O, thank you guys for the feedback. Carrie Wilson, hey. Libra Prime, Wet Lobo 818. Thank you again, Carol. Great to see you. Thank you for the rose, love. Yakin Pottermain, thank you for being here. Polka Dot Suzanne, hi, honey. Hello, Saint Janie, aka San Juanita. Carrie Wilson, again, thank you so much. Glad to see you. And AC, you were first in the house. Cataclysmic Awakening. Holly Embry, thank you for being here. Hi, RT. All right, you guys, I will see you. We're going to do the remaining zodiacs, or as many of them as I can get to tonight, because I want everybody to at least get one zodiac video out this week. I know it's been a terrible week as a whole. I just came back from being sick, and I was still just really slow to get myself back on any kind of a routine, because I've still been napping every day. I had a 2-hour nap this afternoon. But Yeah, Aquarius AC, I think just got one yesterday. So right now I have to go into Pisces. So I know that the ones I have left is Pisces, Scorpio, Gemini, Aries, Ophiuchus. I think those are the 5 I still haven't done. But Aqua got one yesterday, so I won't get to Aqua tonight. But we will start over next week, and we should be back in a groove of doing at least two videos per zodiac instead of just the one that everybody got this week. So, all right, bye guys. Sag already got one also yesterday. So yesterday I got Saggy, I got Taurus, I got Aquarius. I think I did a little bonus one for a Virgo. I think I did Leo. Yeah, so I think sometimes the notifications don't go out because I know some of you guys don't realize that I already did some of those. But anyway, they should be in the playlist. All right, you guys, lots of love. Bye for now.